Greg. Thank you for being in this interview for La Medela School. How are you?
Hello, very well. Thanks for having me. Hope everyone's keeping safe and healthy and optimistic.
Yeah, thank you so much. So to start, I usually don't like to present kind of the work experience that our guests have because I think it's more informative that they themselves can describe what are their favorite, positions or where they want to kind of focus more. So why don't you take us into your professional experience through maybe your first internships up to.
So fast forward, I promise. I quit my gig at Citigroup, and I left all sorts of things on the table, a lot of options, a lot of upside. And I quit because I had an idea. I met some VCs. I didn't even know what a VC was. They liked that I managed a very large portfolio of risk. I was very comfortable with spreadsheets and embedding macros, and I tweaked the Black-Scholes model. But I'm an artist, I'm a creative type of person. And anyway, I received funding for this crazy idea I had. And I moved to San Francisco, hired a bunch of people. The company I started was acquired by a large public company basically before we ever launched. It should have been much bigger. Maybe it's something I'll do a little later, but nobody lost their job. Nobody lost money. Heads are still attached to bodies. And it was a great lesson. I learned a lot in my short stint on the West Coast, and a lot of things not to do, which sometimes is more important than learning what to do. Sometimes learning what not to do is even more important. So anyway, fast forward, what the heck did I do after that? I had a good friend who had been the head of marketing at Coca-Cola, sports marketing at Coca-Cola, and he had been recruited to work for a mall company. And I thought he was crazy. I said, a mall company, like retail real estate? Like, what are you doing? You're a brand guy, a marketing guy. And he said, no, this is a really interesting company, and the people that run it are incredible. And they have 2.6 billion visitors to their properties. And it's this like amazing opportunity. And I thought he was nuts. And we're good friends. And I was in San Francisco looking at lots of startups and angel investing, just checking out a lot of different opportunities and things. And I would see companies I thought could be interesting for him in his new role at this mall company. And a very long story short, round two, he said, I was talking with the senior management here, the executive team, and they really would like to meet you. And this is a very important life lesson for those of you that are watching or listening. Take every meeting. Like, I don't say no to meetings hardly ever, really. There's no such thing as really a bad meeting in my book. You learn something, you meet somebody new, you expand your thinking, you expand your network, a lot can happen. So anyway, I was just very flattered that somebody wanted to meet with me. And I went and saw these folks. It's called Simon Property Group. It's the largest owner of retail real estate, I believe, in the world, the largest retail REIT in the world. And I said to the Simons, I thought they were sitting on the greatest untapped venture platform I'd ever seen, because they had a built-in B2B network as well as a B2C network. And I thought they could think about their business a little bit differently, not just as real estate players, but as a media company, because they had 2.6 billion eyeballs tuned to buy in their property, with some regularity, and a very, very vital group of consuming humans, because they're active spenders. And long story short, I became the senior vice president of venture development for Simon, which basically meant anything not having to do with building malls, leasing space. A lot of that would just fall in my lap, like interesting ways to either make money, invest money. And in my role there, I did all sorts of interesting things. But the thing that sort of got me deeper into CPG, consumer packaged goods, I like to call them people packaged goods. I don't like the word consumer at all. It's like anathema for me to use that word. I sort of cringed even when I said consumer and consumer packaged goods. While I was there, my old CFO at the company I started out in, that was acquired out in Silicon Valley, said, I met this young guy who likes all the same stuff you do, brand and design and marketing. He really likes, he likes packaged goods. He likes, design, as do I. Like, it's kind of understatement for me. And he's like, you should meet with him. And I was like, great. I didn't need an agenda. I didn't need anything else. So someone who knows you says you should meet with somebody, always take those meetings. So I met with this young fellow who was working at a creative agency, and we bonded over a mutual love and respect for everyday items and the design of everyday items. And it turned out through our chatting, which was like drinks and turned into dinner, that we both loved the exact same package. It was like, you don't love packaging. Like, people don't really care that much. I'm like, oh, no, I'm obsessed with packaging. And he's like, what's your favorite? And I'm like, well, it's from the UK. He's like, so's mine. I'm like, yeah, mine never came to America. He's like, same with mine. And it turns out we had the identical favorite package. And you couldn't fake knowing this thing. I mean, it was like way too weird and esoteric. It was something that hadn't existed in like, I don't know, 20 years or something. So we had this crazy bonding session. And knowing that we both love design and everyday packaged goods. And I said, I heard you have some idea that's keeping you up at night. What is it? And he literally said, I think cleaning products suck. That's the exact quote. And I went, well, that's interesting. Why do you say that? And he said, because the biggest thing you buy as a consumer, most expensive, largest purchase, most engaged purchase is your home. And the stuff you use to take care of it is so ugly, you have to hide it, and so toxic, you have to lock it up. And I was like mind exploded. And that's what he said to me. And I said, wow, now that you say that, I think they suck, using the parlance of the day. Because they were created when we were in a very different place culturally. Women were supposed to be homemakers, quote unquote, and deep clean the house every day, and pining over the fact that they had to marry an astronaut, because that was like the height of sophistication. If you were married to the president or you were married to an astronaut, that was like really amazing. And the brands all had an X in them because it sounded very technical, and like the periodic table was being demystified for the little lady back home. So the brands had X's: Windex, Ajax, Borax, Oxidol. Comet kept the space race theme going, so it was a breakout brand. Mr. Clean was a breakout brand because there was a guy with an earring and a tight white T-shirt that American men weren't threatened by, and American women thought was hot. So I said all this to this fellow, Eric is his name, the original co-founder of Method, and we just sort of bonded. And fast forward, I ended up leading the original investment of Method, being on the board of Method, and that kind of got me started on this series of CPG opportunities. So Method became Method. Promise I'm going to speed up the story, and I owe so much to Method. It's a lovely, lovely, lovely brand, incredible products, and then I started a company called EOS that's well known for a lip balm that I sat with a sculptor and two young designers at my conference room table and made this thing. I made the flavor names for my wife. Anyway, EOS kind of changed the lip balm category. According to Mintel, it grew the entire category by 4.5x. And it was a pretty interesting ride and a wonderful brand. And I did some other things after that too. But then I started Hello. And Hello is really like my real love and the culmination of a lot of different things I've done. Hello became the fastest growing oral care brand in the US, the #1 natural toothpaste and mouthwash at Walmart and at Target, the #1 oral care products, traditional or natural, at Dollar General. We have the fastest growing kids oral care range in America. A lot of cool stuff going on. #1 natural deodorant at Dollar General, #2 toothpaste tablets at Amazon. Lots of data points. But I started the company, it was me, 3 people and a dog. And fast forward, all these amazing things happened because of the team. It's always because of people in the team. And ultimately, we were very fortunate. We became part of Colgate back in late January of 2020, before the pandemic really hit as hard as obviously it did. And that takes us pretty much up to date. Now, not only am I the friendly founder of Hello, but I'm the chief innovation strategist for the Colgate Palmolive Company, which is awesome. So that was my long answer. I've done a lot of different.
Let's talk a little about how you became, or how you became the chief innovation strategist at Colgate Palmolive. You were one of the 4 original founders of Hello. Why were you head into the innovation? Why not any other position like marketing or communications? Any other? Why innovation?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, I think innovation needs some help in terms of definition. So I think it's important to define the word innovation, because I think for some people innovation means just new, or design, or new technology. And for me, innovation is about relevance. Can you be culturally relevant? Can you be emotionally relevant? Can you be economically relevant? Can you make something where there's margin? Can you make something where you're providing margin for your retail and e-tail partners? If you can't create that form of relevance, then I would argue you're really not innovating. You have to deliver something beyond a new technology. So for me, innovation is sort of the culmination of all these different things that I've been lucky enough to be a part of. Innovation is just, I think, about thinking differently across the board, across marketing, across new product development, across the way you analyze data. Like, how are you even gathering the data? Sometimes I ask, why are you even gathering the data? At one point there were some major research firms that basically said we shouldn't make EOS, and well over 1 billion units of that little spherical lip balm have been sold, and it changed the whole category. And had we listened to research and data, it wouldn't exist. Traditional research and data also said Method shouldn't exist either. And go figure, Method kind of opened the door to a lot of new ways of thinking about traditional CPG categories. So to get a little bit back to your question, why innovation? A couple of things. One is I'm still the founder of Hello, and I guess once you're the founder, that kind of never goes away. So I'm deeply involved in all things Hello, but I did not know until we were very deep in discussions with Colgate that I would have any role within Colgate. It wasn't a big discussion like, well, Craig, what do you want to do here at Colgate? It was, it says a lot to me about Colgate Palmolive, the company, that this role didn't exist before. So the idea that they would look at somebody like me, someone who's been involved with things like Method and EOS and 7th Generation and Boots, a lot of other things I might have left out of my background there, and say, what, we need some people that think a little differently. I think that says a lot about the company, about Colgate. And people often ask me, they're like, well, why are you there? Meaning, your company was acquired, you had an exit, you're sort of at this arc in your life cycle and business life cycle for the thing you started, right? You started it, and now you had this magical moment, you had this exit. And I get a little grumpy when I hear that word because I'm like, it's not about an exit. I didn't start it so I could finish it. I started because it was the right thing to do. There was a great opportunity. And I view this role at Colgate and Hello's partnership with Colgate. It wasn't like we sold Hello and we're done. It was a partnership. Yeah, there was a transaction, but that's not the secret sauce. That's not the magic. So I say to people that ask me about it and they say, well, you had an exit. I actually turn that. And I say, it's not an exit, it's an entrance. We're just getting started. And the reason I'm so excited to be part of Colgate, and this is stuff that, it's just not in the culture of Colgate to share this, because it's a very humble, lovely, lovely company. Honest to goodness, filled with just the most incredible people. That's why I'm there. Colgate is the single most penetrated brand in the world. Very few people know that. 67% of every household in the world has Colgate in it. The next nearest brand is a 40% household penetration. It's incredible. So I'm there because I view Hello and what we've done with Hello, what we're going to really continue to do in a big way with the brand and the products we create and the voice and tone that we're bringing to the category and the other categories we're playing in. We're going to bring some of that to people all over the world. And that's the coolest opportunity ever. So that's why I'm there. And again, I look at innovation at Colgate as, not to downplay a lot of the magic that they've done for many, many years. It's a very innovative company. They've really, they basically invented ribbon toothpaste, like the toothpaste we all use. It's pretty amazing. But I feel like the stuff that's going to be coming down the pike, people are going to have their minds blown. It's really cool. And there's a lot of amazing things to come. And some things are just starting to launch. So you'll see even more, literally like the months and quarters and years ahead. It's pretty amazing. So yeah, innovation to me is everything. It's about thoughtfulness. It's about really bringing a sensibility and a set of sensitivities to a whole bunch of opportunities, not to problems, to opportunities, and unleashing a lot of magic where there hasn't been any. So that's why I'm so excited to be there, and that's why I love innovation. It's you're bringing new thinking to opportunities, again, not to problems. There are problems, but it's up to us to.
Great. And in that sense, would you mind going more granular about like a normal day in your working life? Like, what do you? Well, yeah, like all the guests laugh when I say normal because nothing is normal nowadays. But if you could describe a regular day, well, say, what do you when you start? What are the tasks that you require from other people from your team? What are the next things that you are waiting for? Could you comment us a little bit more granular?
Well, some things obviously I probably can't talk too much about.
Yeah.
But wow, I start my day. Well, today, as an example, I was up, and I'm not one of those people who's gonna say like, I work all the time, and that's the new way. Like I do work all the time because it's not work. I love it. I love it.
I like it.
So I don't want to say like, it's not about schedule shaming people, like, oh, you're not working hard enough. You should be up at 4 a.m. Like I happen to have been up at 4 a.m. today. And that was not planned. It's not like I set schedules, but I'm excited. Like Monday for me is a happy day. I love it. So I was up early. My first call was actually chatting with somebody who's helping sort of direct our international growth for Hello. So we just launched in Canada a couple of months ago, which is going unbelievably, knock on everything well. And we're, you're going to start to see Hello show up in a lot of other places. So my day started, didn't have to start at 4 a.m. like I said, but started more civilized hour. But that was my first call talking about international, advancement for the brand. And you'll start to see a lot more Hello showing up in other places. Then we had a big team meeting with everybody at Hello. Our team is growing. We have a bunch of new people in a lot of exciting roles, including innovation. But literally, I view every role as an innovation role. I told everybody at Hello when we started that the best marketing idea can come from somebody in accounting. The greatest sales pitch can come from somebody in marketing, not from sales. The greatest idea for a new product can come from sales. And we know that to be true because that's the way we've functioned at Hello. We've made all sorts of things because someone in sales has said, I was just with one of our retail partners and, there's this hole and we could create something. We do. This happens a lot, Hello. We're very, very, we're fluid in terms of how we share ideas. So anyway, I could describe my day and just sort of kept going. It was like team meeting, individual calls with members of the team. Last week was retailer meetings galore. It was one of our biggest weeks of the year where we have strategic top-to-top meetings with our largest North American retail partners. It never stops. When I'm not on a call, sometimes I'll tell you a little secret. Sometimes when I am on a call, I might be sketching. I'm always like doodling, and not because I'm a doodler, but because I'm sketching, silhouettes for products or writing copy. I write the lion's share, probably like 99% of the copy on the packages, on the website, we have a team that helps on social, so I don't do that like I used to. I used to write all the copy on social. Now we have a team that does that. But no, you know what the approach is? The approach is walking around. The approach is keeping your eyes open. The approach is listening. I came up with the idea for Hello because I was in a drugstore and I saw pictures of extracted teeth on all the products. And I thought that was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen. Like I thought the whole point is to use these products so the teeth stay in your mouth. Why did all these products have pictures of extracted teeth with the roots dangling down? I thought that was crazy. And when I looked at the ingredients on a lot of products, they were filled with things that I did not think belonged in your mouth. At one point, and luckily things have changed since Hello has launched, not attributing these changes to Hello, but I have a feeling we might have helped initiate some change along the way. But there were ingredients that the FDA had banned from hand soap, and yet they were in your toothpaste. You couldn't wash your hands with some of these ingredients, but you could put them in your mouth. That's crazy. So where did the innovation for Hello come from? Again, I go back to relevance. It was culturally, to me, not just irrelevant, it was culturally anathema. It was culturally so off-putting to me to think that everything in oral care was about killing and fighting. These are the claims. You have to kill the germs that cause bad breath. If you're not whitening, you're frightening. You're not going to get kissed. You're not going to get the job. You're not going to get paid. You're not going to get laid because your teeth aren't going cha-ching and your breath isn't just, sending fireworks out into the world. Like that to me seems so culturally off base. So that's where the idea came from. EOS, the idea for EOS, for that lip balm, that spherical lip balm, that came because I saw women's purses at the time where their gym bag, their diaper bag, their overnight bag, their computer bag. I really think, honestly, that this flash on the back of your phone became a flashlight because women couldn't find anything in their cavernous black hole purse. Literally, the thing that inspired me the most was a Longchamp purse, because I knew all these women that had this purse and they couldn't find anything in it. They had to use their phone as a flashlight to find things. I thought, what if you just stick your hand in there and know exactly what it was just by touch, just by having 5 of these? Forget about 2 of these. And the average woman was ingesting 5 pounds of lip balm and, 5 pounds of petrochemicals from her lip balm and makeup, lipstick. Stuff is horrible. You shouldn't be ingesting, petroleum. That's horrible. Or petroleum byproducts.
And that is a great insight. So I'm a little curious about going into, our program is integrated marketing communications, and you have been part of 2 amazing products, if not more. But the ones that you have just commented are, the lipstick, EOS, and Hello. So these 2 great companies. How did you launch the products? How did you prepare, and what did you anticipate it? Could you comment us a little bit? Not a lot, but just kind of key insight that students or graduates can take as their acumen.
Well, let's use Hello for a second, since I'm staring at it. It's right next to me. What did I do when I launched? The first thing I did a few things. First thing I did was I'm obsessed with names and naming. And it's probably because I have such a horrible name, Craig Dubitsky. Like what a horrible name. I don't mean to be disrespectful to my parents, but clearly they were not branding or marketing people. So given that, like Dubitsky is Russian and Craig is a Scottish name, I don't see how those even fit. But anyway, phonically, sonically, it's a nightmare, Craig Dubitsky. So anyway, I'm obsessed with names and naming. So the first thing with Hello, apart from realizing that there were extracted teeth and ingredients that I didn't think belonged in people's mouths in the category, it was really understanding, again, like the cultural norms and the way these products behaved with respect to those cultural norms needed a big change. And I thought one of the best ways to change it, apart from obviously changing the ingredients and making sure the product has to work, right? I don't want to shortchange that. Your stuff has to be awesome. It has to be fucking awesome. Like if the stuff you're making doesn't rock, don't bother. I don't care how good a marketer you are, because then guess what? Someone will buy it once because you're a great marketer, and they won't be awesome.
So how did you test it? How do you
test it? Testing, I freaking hate testing. Okay, testing told me not to make EOS, and I'm glad I didn't listen. Testing said you can't make you can't make a household cleaning products brand. The world has plenty of those. All the experts said no to method and to EOS and to Hello. So you're talking to someone who I like. The rocket ship has a window in the front. It doesn't have side view mirrors or rear view mirror, right? It's like you go. And this is the entrepreneurial way. I'm not unique or alone with this. Like every entrepreneur I know, common sense rule the day, gut rule the day. Most forms of deep dive research will tell you not to do it. Or here's the insight. We're doing the research to find the insight. If you have to do research to find the insight, first of all, you just gave every entrepreneur a huge head start because they already have an insight, right? So you're doing the research to find it. So you're going to do the research, gather the data, analyze the data, and try to uncover an insight. And most of it is right there in front of you. We have the #1 kids toothpaste now, like fastest growing kids toothpaste. You know what the insight was? I had kids, and we used to have a fight with them to get them to brush their teeth. And I said, what if we made it taste amazing? By the way, anything that goes in your mouth should taste amazing. What an insight that is. Wow, it goes in your mouth. It should taste amazing. Believe it or not, it turned out this is big insight done because we made it taste delicious and it's natural and effective. It works. Bing, 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 like big insight. So no, it's about testing. So when I started Hello, going back to the original question, what I called it was really important. Names and naming, really, really, really important. So another thing I left out, I'm involved with this company that a lexicon. They named Swiffer, Febreze, Dasani, Pentium, MacBook, PowerBook, Impossible Foods, Sonos, one of my favorites because it's a palindrome, BlackBerry.
What was the company that you mentioned?
A lexicon. I think it's the best naming company in the world. They named Optic White for Colgate, Wisp for Colgate. It's an amazing company. So I've been the chairman of the advisory board there for about 8 or 9 years. I'd engaged the company years ago for something totally unrelated. And the founder of the company, the CEO, said, I've never met somebody who's as passionate about what we do in my, 25, 30 years of doing this. And I'm putting together a board. You need to be the chairman of that board. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, I love names and names. So hello, first thing I did was I trademarked the word hello all over the world. And people are like, how did you do that? Because it wasn't the logo. Of course, we did that later. The artwork came later. First, I got the word mark for hello all over the world. That took some doing. That was not an easy thing to do. But I did that. And then it was, parallel path with that was the first person I started working with was our formulator, our head of R&D, because I really wanted formulations that were going to work and be delicious and be as natural as we can make them. And I wanted to own that IP. So these were investments. These were serious investments. But it's because I had so much conviction. And I really felt that there was a really, really large and an important opportunity here. It wasn't opportunistic. To me, this was necessary. These are daily use items. And I thought we could make them, better. And in doing so, elevate the everyday for a lot of people. That's the other big thing about Hello. I want it to be for everybody. So another trademark I made up, something we have is for the 100%, not for the 1%. And I didn't say for the 99s, for everybody. The big idea is make a better product and make it for everybody. There's riches in the niches, and luxury is great. And sometimes people go into luxury type businesses because the minimum order quantities are, much smaller and they could charge a lot and make a lot of margin. I wanted to play in a very big playing field from day one. So I did the naming work, did the formulation work. I didn't do it, right? I had amazing people that I was able to bring on board to do that. Design partners, because I wanted to look incredible. The bar was really low. So those are all the pieces I put in place. And then I went to retailers, and I'm very fortunate with Hello, I was able to get purchase orders before we launched, before I made anything, which is very unusual. Most people, again,
And how did you convince the retailers?
Because I'm a passionate, wild person, and there was no way I was taking no for an answer. And I would do stuff like this. I'd be like, hey, you've seen your parents' teeth, your grandparents' teeth. Why would you use the same toothpaste they used? Their toothpaste, their teeth are in a jar by the side of their bed. And I would do this. I crack open this and don't, but no.
Oh my goodness.
I do stuff like that. And I'd be like, this stuff goes in your mouth, goes in your body. Goes in your mouth, goes in your body. Like, would you put that other stuff? Would you swallow it? And by the way, this is fluoride free.
Yeah.
Never eat toothpaste, fluoride or fluoride free, but I'm a trained professional. But it's kind of stuff I would do. I'd be like, look, we're going to save your marriage, right? The tube keeps coming back. There are no crinkly tubes.
I think that is the best selling, presentation that I have seen in my whole.
Well, you're very, thank you. But that's, you do it with passion and conviction and with great product. The product has to be amazing. Otherwise, like I said, you're going to sell it once. And that may be to a buyer at a retail firm. They may buy it once because they believe, but then if people don't buy it after that, if the stuff isn't great, that's it. So
you had a great product, a great selling point, but how did you, kind of make or communicate this great product to the world? What was
by eating it? Well, I wouldn't say to the world yet, but with our great partners at Colgate, we will be doing that. But sampling was really important. So when you have something great, you want everybody to try it. So sampling has been important. Being highly accessible has been very important. So from the very first time we had a website, the very first website we ever had, there's always been a Skype button. Now we're in the world of Zoom, so we might have to update our technology. But back then, Skype was pretty cutting edge when we started. So we have a Skype button on the website. It's still there. Anyone who's watching this, if you want to say hello, you can Skype. It comes directly to me. It doesn't go to anyone else. It just comes to me. As long as I'm not on, where I'm indisposed for some reason with my family or chatting with you or talking with our team or a retail partner, I pick up. And if I miss you, I'll ping you back. But I do that. And I think, talking about the brand and saying we're naturally friendly, we're serious about being friendly. And you can't call yourself hello and then not be reachable. And I think part of what we've built is a culture around thinking a little differently and responding, with heart. I don't want to say authentically, of course it's authentic, but it's with heart, with passion, with feeling, bringing emotion to the category that's different than the emotion that was typically there, which was again around fear and shame, right? Your teeth aren't white enough. The dentist is going to hurt you. Bringing a warmth to it and being accessible and open and listening to people, chatting with them online, offline, however you need to do it. And being really transparent and following that level of transparency all the way through. We have some really cool CBD based products at Hello, and there's a QR code on the product, and you literally can read the lab report that tracks back to that product that will tell you all sorts of cool information. We know the farmers that are growing the mint that's in this product. They're 4th generation women-owned farms that are producing the mint in Oregon and the Willamette Valley. It's unbelievably beautiful. That's in these products, and they're available everywhere, and they're affordable. So by doing all of this, it all reinforces the, I don't want to say like the story, because it's not a story, like it's real. It's not fiction. We're doing it. And by being accessible and responsive and thoughtful in everything from the way the UPC codes look on the packaging to the way we respond to people on social, it's real. It's not like outsourced to some group in the middle of nowhere that, just writes back. It's us. And I think all of that created like a deeper set of touch points that were real for people. And people have said, oh, things worked out for Hello because you were a disruptor. You're a challenger brand, you're a disruptor. And I love words. I try to be as mindful as I can be. I'm not always the best, but I try certainly to be mindful about word choice. And I don't like the word disruptive. When you disrupt something, like that's, it's an agitation, right? It's the same in music. If I went da-da-da, it's like jarring. If I go da-da-da-da, then there's some completion. There's,
Exactly.
there's a coda. There's, we don't want to jar anyone, scare anyone, shock anyone. So I like to say the only people that ever thought of us as disruptors were the people being disrupted. And I think we were disruptive because we delighted people more. So, no one ever said, hey, honey, next time you're picking up some toothpaste, get me some of that disruptive Hello charcoal. Ooh, what a challenging experience I had at the sink last time I brushed. Whoa, they're such challengers. They're really disrupting the oral care game. Yeah. Like no one says that. They go, wow, this is awesome. Or I love this. Or it says, please spit responsibly on the charcoal toothpaste. Like that's just, like why'd they do that? Or that's kind of cool that they did that. So that's how we created something and kept sharing it and putting it out there. The more we kept doing that, it just started to grow. We didn't have a Super Bowl ad. There wasn't, a silver bullet, crazy advertising or marketing idea. The whole thing, everything we do it's like a never ending campaign. I hate the word campaign really because people market and they go, oh, we had a campaign, we're doing a campaign. So,
yeah, I actually was going to ask about any advertising or media campaign.
We've done little things here and there, and we'll continue to do that. And we experiment and play around with all sorts of things. But the product ends up doing most of the talking for us in the best way. And it has, the brand has a lot of personality and tone, and we think, some really nice design touches that people appreciate. And I think that does a lot of the heavy lifting for us. It's not that we don't do any marketing, that we don't, have a social presence, and we're showing up in some interesting ways and in some interesting places. But I still go back to the essence of the thing, is the product, is the brand, and the way we feel about it, talk about it, share it, and keep pushing new things out into the world that we think are relevant, culturally, emotionally, financially, economically relevant. And the more we do that, the more innovative it turns out we can be. And in this case, innovation translating and a proxy for relevance. And hopefully, they say with real estate as an example, it's about location, location. I like to think with brands, it's about location too. So the location we're going for is the heart, right? If we can get closer to your heart because we're real, we're thoughtful and caring and warm, that's the best location for any brand. So, we just kind of keep trying to put more magic into the product and into the way we treat each other and into the way we treat the people that engage.
I was going to ask more about EOS, and I am so sorry for my mispronunciation. It's just because the product is also well known in Spanish, and it's EOS.
EOS, yeah. That's okay.
So for me, it's always like I'm going back to my Spanish root.
EOS.
Yeah. So I think we will have to have another interview to talk about EOS, which is a completely interesting topic. But to finalize, I would like to discuss a little about your personal leadership. What do you think is leadership for you, and what are some good books or videos, advice that you want to kind of share?
Sure. Wow. That's it's a great question, and not one I've ever been asked before. And I think leaders never say they're leaders. They're doers. And part of doing is enabling other people to do. Like I always thought my role was to magnetize Hello so that the coolest, smartest, best people could do their coolest, smartest, best work. And I still think that's a big part of what I try to do. And I think it's about inspiring people to realize that that this is theirs too, right? So I started it, but if it weren't for the team, I'd just be a guy with an idea, right? Who had a flash in a drugstore and thought, oral care should be friendly. And it is always about the team. So I think a good leader never says they're the leader. They're there to help inspire people to realize how important they are and what they can do, and then get out of the way and try to remove as many roadblocks as they can. And a couple of years ago, when we were able to have a holiday dinner, I gave a toast. The other thing that was kind of fun is that I think part of I don't like the word leader, like inspirer, maybe encourager.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Yeah, it just feels, feels forced to me. But at this dinner, I made a little toast, and I didn't write anything down. Nothing was planned. It just was like appropriate to say something. We'd had this really great year. We'd overcome lots of things, and business was really, really growing very, very, very fast. And we were running, profitably, and everything was just great. And I said something, and when you're speaking from the heart, you don't need to write it down, right? It's like Mark Twain was famous for saying, if you tell the truth, you don't need a good memory, because when you tell the truth never changes. So you don't really need to, you need to have the greatest memory. So I had this thing I said, and I said, I'm making this, toast. There's a room full of us, and I'm the founder, but you know what? You're all founders. Everyone needs to think of themselves as a founder. And I don't mean the old-fashioned way, which is like spend every dime as if it were your own. That's like an antiquated way. I meant like, we're doing this together. There's an idea, and you're going to make it better just by being here and by adding your special magic to the mix, right? Like, this whole like old poetic notion that life's a play, and like you're here to like write your verse. Like what verse are you adding? And I think it's true. And I think people that love people and want them to do amazing things, hopefully are able to inspire them to do that. And I think one of the, you asked like, what's something that's inspired you, or someone that's inspired you? And I certainly have a whole bunch of people that have meant a great deal to me over the years. Some that I've never met and will never meet, and then some I've been lucky enough to meet. And one of the people I was able to meet many years ago, sometimes you meet a hero and it can be like a letdown, sometimes that happens. I've been very fortunate. I've met a couple that were certainly not letdowns. And one was, I met this fellow named Chris Bangle, who used to be the global head of design at BMW, Mini, and Rolls-Royce. And, he was amazing. He still is an amazing person. And what I found so inspiring about him was that he actually originally was studying to go into the priesthood, I think, is what he studied originally. It was like in seminary. And, they say I'm a spiritual person more than I'm a religious person, but the old line is God is in the details, right? So it's like nature to me is a religion. Like that's where all the design really comes from. What your beliefs are about where and how nature works.
Yeah.
We can leave that aside for a second. But Chris Bangle for me was so important because he was the only other person that I was aware of, other than Steve Jobs, who I didn't get to know or meet, obviously. But Chris Bangle was the only one other than Steve Jobs who I thought brought design into the boardroom. And under his watch, BMW overtook Mercedes for the first time in either company's history. And so I got to spend time with him. So design is really important. And another thing that's really had an effect on me, it's really, it's a little trite maybe because it's true, but the famous Steve Jobs commencement speech from Stanford, where basically, to sum it up, it's sort of like, you're only here for so long. Like, you got to make it count. And, I can tell you my parents, my father is still with me, and he's amazing. My mom passed away a few years ago, but they both instilled in me, especially my mother, this sense that you have to try. Like if you don't try, you've already failed. So what's the worst thing that happens if you try? What's the worst thing? You're going to learn something. You're going to meet somebody. Are you going to embarrass yourself? You're going to hold yourself, with some semblance of, I don't know what, good taste and demeanor, and you'll be appropriate. Like you're not going to like. What's the worst thing that happens? So I grew up with this notion that I have no fear of failure. I just have fear of not trying. And I owe that to my parents. And I think for most people, again, if you're watching this and you're in school, you're finishing up school, you're thinking about career stuff, what I would say is, not that you're asking me this question, but I would just say, like, don't be scared to try something new. I think the other thing I would share is network like crazy. The people that you're in school with, virtual or otherwise, are going to be so valuable to you as you go on, not just the alumni network, as valuable as an alumni network can be, but your cohorts, because you're all going to go on to do incredible things. Take every meeting you can, because you'll be amazed what you'll learn, and be open-minded, because I never thought I'd be making products, and now it's like all I dream about. I love it. And if you figure out what you love, you're way ahead, because it's like that old line, like, if you're doing what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. It's true. So if you're lucky enough to be in a position where you can think about what you love, you're way ahead of the game. And if you can find a company, a brand that's doing something that you love or you admire or you think you can add to, please, when you meet with that company, show them that you care and you love the brand. I can't tell you how many people I meet with, and they'll recite sort of some of their academic pedigree or things that they've done or places they work, but then they don't say, this is what I love about your brand. This is what I think I've never seen before, and what I think could be so great and what I could bring. Usually I get from some people is, this is what I want, not what I have to give. So just make sure you share with somebody what magic you have to give. And one last thing is that everyone, I think, even if you're just graduating now, or you're thinking about graduating, or you're entering school, or you're looking for a summer gig, whatever it is, I think anyone who has an idea is an entrepreneur. even if you go to work inside of a big company, because now I'm inside of a big company. And I said to the chairman CEO of Colgate, I said, you've got 35,000 entrepreneurs here working in like 215 or 220 countries around the world, because they're all entrepreneurs. If you have an idea and you can make it real, you're an entrepreneur. If you can make an idea, come to life and make it profitable, then you're a good entrepreneur. Not all entrepreneurs are good entrepreneurs, but just keep that in mind. So you could join a company, an extant brand, and bring your magic to it and forget about the term entrepreneur. Sure, that's cute. But again, you could join somewhere, don't get hired, join, be emotionally attached to that because you love it and you love what they do and what they stand for, and show what you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to just go ahead and ask you 6 ping-pong questions. What is a status quo for you?
What is status quo for me? Constant change is status quo.
Okay. Design.
It's like everything. Everything is design. Everything is art.
Customer.
Friend.
Brand.
Art also.
And finally, what is marketing for you?
Story being versus storytelling. So like being the story, creating the story. That's marketing. Like it's being it, not just talking about it. It's being it and then letting other people talk about it, because you're doing something that gets them excited and happy.
All right. I think we've talked about an hour, so much to process, and we learned so much. Thank you from the heart, Craig. It's been a wonderful, and I hope that we can have another talk later in the year to talk about EOS, and I guess you will be creating another amazing stuff.
Well, I can only hope, and I just again wish everyone good health, stay healthy, take care of each other, call your parents because they miss you and they love you, and yeah, just stay again safe and optimistic, and try. Just go try something cool and new, and let me know if I can be helpful. Give a call, get in touch, Skype, LinkedIn, whatever it is. I give them my number all the time, 917-392-1000. That's my cell phone. If I can be helpful, you let me know. And this is how you change the world. You share and you listen and you try to help. So get out there and make it happen.